unmute us?
Okay, yes, I'm unmuting everyone.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, when everybody comes back, I wanted to ask a question.
Okay, we're having our
Before
6:30 meeting.
Madam Mayor, point of order?
I'm sorry?
No, I wait, after the roll call, I'd like to make a suggestion.
Okay, roll call.
Yes,
Yes, we need the roll call for the
All right, Mayor Halton.
annuity.
Mayor Halton?
Here,
Vice Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Commissioner Samari.
yes.
Commissioner Tudor.
Here.
Point of order, Madam Mayor? Can
go
I,
ahead,
can I,
Commissioner
can I
Samari.
make a suggestion? It's because it's already 8:30. With the budget, I know we have done in the past, and we want to go with a budget thoroughly. Can we break up the budget into two parts? Because we have done that in the past, and do one part tonight and then do another part another night. That's just a suggestion that I'm making.
Can we speak about that when we're in that meeting at the
Okay.
workshop?
Right.
Yes,
well,
ma'am. No, okay.
We're not
yes,
in that
ma'am.
meeting yet.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm just,
public comments on the agenda item, which is the millage rate. Does anybody want to speak on the millage rate?
Do we have any public?
if I want to, can I make a motion, or do we have to go with the motion that's already on now?
We've got
We're in public comment.
Oh, public comments? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kennedy.
All
are
right,
there any public comments on the millage rate?
I have,
Janie wants.
Mr. Ross, your mic is open.
Mayor, if I may, this is one of the instances where normally, you certainly can take public hearing or public comment during the agenda section that we're at right now. But I remind you that when we actually get to Resolution 2020-33, it is one of those resolutions that we have to also give people an opportunity to comment on that resolution. So it's at your discretion whether or not you wish for me to
Okay,
read the resolution or not.
you can start, John. Thank you.
All right. The item for consideration this evening on the agenda is Resolution 2020-33. It's a resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, establishing a tentative millage rate of 9.7770 for fiscal year 2020-2021, establishing the current year rollback rate to be 8.9837, and establishing the first and second public budget hearings as required by law, directing the village clerk and finance manager to file said resolution with the property appraiser and tax collector of Miami-Dade County, pursuant to the requirements of Florida statutes and the rules and regulations of the Department of Revenue of the state of Florida, providing for an effective date. If I may, Madam Mayor, generally, with respect to this particular resolution and the other budget resolutions that will, ordinance titles that will come before you, I really like to read the entire resolution, so it's a matter of record. So if you may, if you allow me, it's the resolution in question states, whereas Section 4.10 of the village charter authorizes the village to levy, assess, and collect all such taxes and assessments as are permitted by law. And whereas the Village of Biscayne Park received the certificate of taxable value on real and personal property from the Miami-Dade County property appraiser, we certified a gross taxable value for operating purposes to be $249,288,180, and the adjusted value to be $248,180,215. Whereas sections 200.001 and 200.065 Florida statutes provide the maximum tax levies for municipalities, as well as establish the procedure to calculate these maximum rates. And whereas the maximum tax levy allowed by a majority vote of the governing body for fiscal year 2020-2021 is based on a percentage applied to the rollback rate under section 200.065 Florida statutes. And whereas the maximum tax levies may be increased by a supermajority or unanimous vote by the local governing body, and whereas municipal taxing authorities must complete and return the appropriate form to the Miami-Dade County Property Appraiser's Office certifying an estimated proposed millage rate on or before August 4th, 2020. And whereas Section 200.065 Florida statutes requires the Village of Biscayne Park to hold 2 public hearings before adopting and certifying the final millage rate. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, that the above recitals are true and correct and incorporated herein by this reference and are hereby adopted as legislative and administrative findings of the Village Commission. Setting of the tentative millage rate, the 2020-2021 fiscal year tentative millage rate for the Village of Biscayne Park is 9.7000 per $1,000 of assessed property value within the Village of Biscayne Park, which is not a 7.97% over the rollback rate. The rollback rate computed pursuant to Section 200.065 Florida statutes is 8.9837 per $1,000. And the date and time and place of the first and second public hearings for the adoption of the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget and millage are as follows. First reading of budget and millage ordinance is scheduled for Tuesday, September 8, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Village of Biscayne Park Log Cabin or via Zoom, as the case may be. And then the second reading is scheduled for Friday, September 29th, 2020. Again at 6:30 p.m. Village of Biscayne Park Log Cabin or via Zoom. The village clerk and the finance manager are directed to complete and return the appropriate forms certifying the 2020-21 fiscal year tentative millage rate for the village on or before August 4th, 2020 to the Miami-Dade County Tax Collector and Property Appraiser's Office. If severability, if any section, sentence, clause, or phrase herein is held to be invalid by any court of competent jurisdiction, that said holding shall in no way affect the validity of the remaining portions of this resolution. And last but not least, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, John. Now we'll open it up for public comments.
Good evening, everyone. Chuck Ross, can you hear me?
Yes.
No, Chuck Ross, 11166 Griffin Boulevard. I'd urge you to hold the millage at 9.7, particularly because we're going through this COVID crisis. We do not know how it's going to affect our state revenue sharing and possibly property values in the future. We don't know where we're going to be. So because of that, I would urge that you hold it at 9.7 mils. Thank you.
Okay, any other
Me.
comments? Janie?
Janie Anderson,
You're muted, Janie.
I'm trying to unmute you.
Sorry,
Okay.
There you go.
Amy Anderson, 11th Place and 119th Street. I echo what Chuck said. Please resist the urge to take the millage down, particularly before you've gone through the budget. I think we need to focus less on what the millage is and a lot more on getting things done so that taxpayers are seeing value for what they're paying. Sure, it's easy to say, well, we're the second highest millage in the county. Well, of course we are. We have no commercial. We have no condos. Condos take less city resources than do single family. And a significant number of cities have considerably higher property values than we do. So it's a false equivalence to compare to another city because we're kind of in our own unique situation. People want to see median, not just median maintenance, median improvements. They want a well-run public works department. Means we need a manager over there. More communication in terms of educating people on code issues might ratchet down some of the problems there. All of that takes money. And again, like Chuck said, we don't know where we're going to be revenue sharing. We don't know what COVID's going to do to property values. Don't assume because things look pretty today in terms of property values that 6 months from now it's going to be the same way. Please hold the millage. Don't back yourselves into a corner. Thanks.
Okay. We have Bobby Anderson.
Yes,
Sorry.
Bob, you're muted, Bob.
okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Bob Anderson, 11th Place, 119th Street. I concur with the other two people. That's what they said. You need to always look at what revenue do you need to have to go ahead and be running the city and to actually accomplish things. We have so many things that need to be done here. We have roads, we have we need to go ahead and take a look at our drainage. And there's multiple other things. And also too, to get good employees, you're going to have to be paying for it. So do not look at cutting your revenue short. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak?
I don't see any other hand.
Okay, public comments is closed. How about the commissioners?
With the is it possible to make a motion before the one that we have already? I mean, not yet, but the ones with the millage. I like to make a motion to lower the trim rate from 9.7 to 9.4 for discussion.
Madam Mayor, if I may, and you all, the commissioners may already know this, but for the benefit of everyone, is that this, and I certainly ultimately defer to Mr. Winklejohn, but this is the first step in the budget adoption process that is required under Florida law. And the important thing to know about what you are doing here tonight is that you are setting the tentative millage rate. And basically what that means is that you cannot go above that number, whatever it is that you put in this resolution. You can always go below it during the actual public budget hearing adoption process, but you cannot go above it. And so it basically sets the ceiling for your ultimate final millage rate that you adopt at the end of the process.
Okay. So a motion is not in order, is that correct, John?
A motion is in order, but I just want you to understand that if you set a millage rate lower than 9.7, which is being recommended by staff, and you go with the millage rate that the Commissioner Samaria has suggested and has made in the form of a motion, that's as high as you will ever be able to go. You can go below it, but you can't go above it.
Do we have a second to that motion?
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify something John said. It's not, John, we can't increase it this year. You said ever. We can increase it next year,
Yeah, we
but
can
not
create-
this
yes.
budget cycle.
Yes, no, for this budget year.
Okay, good. That makes it clear. Okay, yeah.
Do we have a second for Commissioner Samaria's motion?
For discussion.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, second by. Okay, who would like to discuss the motion?
Should I be able to discuss the motion since it was my motion?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I believe that we need, okay, here's what I found so far, and we can probably find more when we go through the budget. Well, we had David Hernandez being our intern manager in Public Works. We saved approximately $40,000. With our former code officer, while she was on personal leave, we saved about $12,000. We can get rid of the lobbyists, not permanently, but I think it's going to be a year before the governor or even the state of Florida issues any more money. So that's going to be about $20,000. We have the rec center's budget contingency has $30,000. I don't think we're going to be spending that for quite a while. If I'm correct, it's $24,818.1, which means it'll be $74,454. Give me a chance to move this thing down. Last year, property values had one of the county's highest increase, and despite the virus, we should not have a major loss. Our residents are having a hard time, and I think they deserve some financial help. Thank you.
Okay, if I might say something, there are 3 places in South Florida, Golden Beach, Indian Creek, and Biscayne Park, who have no commercial at all. And they're not expecting us to have any of the problems that all the other cities are doing. But having this millage rate, having extra money is not going to hurt us. It's, we don't have to spend it. So that's my comments on that. Any other comments, Commissioner Tuda?
Yeah, I think it's just important that, because I think Attorney Herron probably wants to just, set the record straight that if we approve this current resolution that was presented at 9.7, that during the budget process, before we have the first reading of the ordinance for the millage rate, we may actually find some savings during this budget process to where we can actually lower the millage rate afterwards. It's approving this 9.7 right now does not lock us into 9.7.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah, it's just approving it just gives us that leeway to where we can always go to the 9.7. But I definitely think there's places where we probably can reduce some expenditures. And I've spoken to Mr. Winklejohn about this. I think there's areas where we can actually cut some expenditures where we can actually lower the millage rate. If we can, I think we should. We're talking about residents here who are directly impacted by this pandemic. You're talking about residents who may not have employment currently, that may need some help. And if the village can do it, we should do it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Kennedy?
Yeah, a couple of quick things. First of all, I know it's politically expedient to say, let's cut taxes, and it sounds all well and good. But Will said it very well, and John clarified for us. We can always bring it down. So I asked Paul for some additional information, which he provided to me, and I hope it was sent to all the commissioners. There was a flurry of things coming from the meeting. I'm not sure everyone got it, but I asked Paul to put together a spreadsheet for me, and someone just stopped me if you all got it. It's a spreadsheet called Revenue from Ad Valorem for Village of Biscayne Park. And I asked him to project for us what different millage rates would bring into the village. In other words, how much more or less money would we get if we were to raise or lower it for every 0.1. And I also asked him to present to me what the typical, what a somewhat reasonable savings would be in actual dollars, because I know it sounds really, exciting to drop the taxes, but then what does it really mean in terms of a decreased dollar amount for the check that you're writing? Let me just say, I would love nothing more than to pay less taxes. Our tax bill in this house is about a little shy of $10,000 a year, and I cringe every year when I pay it. So I'd love to cut my own taxes, but we have to pay some bills. And to Janie Anderson's point, we have some progress to make in this village. So Dan, did you get that spreadsheet? And I'm not putting you on the spot. I want to know, did you get that spreadsheet that shows how much money we would lose or gain if we adjusted it, and how much the standard house would pay? Okay,
Yes,
so you saw that.
yes. But when I did my research, I found areas that can get us the money that we supposedly $40,000 that we're going to lose. I got it, as I brought out tonight, explains why I still think we can do it. So,
Okay, I understand. That's a budget conversation. That's for the next meeting.
right.
Okay, I just want to make sure you all got that, because an average, the bottom line is a home with a taxable value, Paul, step in if I get this wrong, because I don't have it in front of me. A home with a taxable value of $300,000, if it's homesteaded, every 0.1 drop saves that, is about $30 less. So they save $30. So if, just keep that in mind for a $300,000 taxable house, which is less than what mine is. It's $30, but what it represents to the village is about $25,000 as a whole. Is that correct, John? Or Paul? I'm sorry, Paul.
That's all right. That's okay. Yep.
It's because John's at the end of your name. So many times I've wanted to call you John. So Paul.
I've never noticed.
Yeah. So just everyone keep in mind, for every 0.1 change up or down, it's like $30 difference in a tax bill to that house that I just described, and to the village, it's about $25,000. And here's one, so I don't think it's something we should even be considering, because we could do it later in the budget process. But to Dan's point, Paul, would it be possible for the other workshops that we're going to have in the revenue section of this, for you to show us what the revenue, ad valorem revenue would look like at 9.6, 9.5, and 9.4, which is the threshold that Dan would like us to hit?
Yes, in the chart, I did put the actual revenue that is
Oh,
generated.
we can pick that up over there?
Yeah, it's a quick chart. I didn't spend an inordinate amount of time trying to get everything labeled, but it does say revenue. And it's exactly as you said. It's straight math, $24,818 per tenth of a millage point. And on a $300,000 house, without getting into homestead exemptions and such,
Right.
that's a $30 per tenth of a point also. So you can see pretty quickly the incremental changes within reason of, where you might swing your decision making to. I would also add that the process is a little bit backwards. You build your budget, then you see what that millage rate looks like, and then you adopt what you're comfortable with. So that's yet to come.
Yep.
Today, like our attorney pointed out, is really procedural to set the high bar so that you can go through your process. So
Okay. Paul,
I appreciate the, go ahead. No.
I probably should have worded that differently with what I just asked you. On this page of the budget, could you, for the next time around, could you drop that chart down here so we have that as a reference right there so we can be looking at it when we're considering stuff? That spreadsheet that you provide, if you dropped it right, or you're not allowed to do that on the budget draft?
I think we can put it in there.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a helpful thing, I would think.
Sharon's in charge of that spreadsheet. So
Okay, thank you, Sharon. And I appreciate that, Dan, you want to drop the taxes. I really do. And I would love to as well, but I don't think we need to be doing that tonight. We could do it later if we want to.
Okay, there's a motion on the table,
There's a motion on the table. Roseanne, do you want to call the
I
discussion?
think
Matt,
Rox
Matt.
wants to talk.
Commissioner Ross?
Commissioner Ross, Wednesday.
So just quick comments about that. I really appreciate that spreadsheet you gave us. I think it came in today or yesterday afternoon. Thank you, Paul. It really hit home that a 0.1 mil change can mean lost revenue of nearly $25,000, and for a personal property owner, a gain of $30 for the year. I don't think that 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 that is being suggested is an appreciable amount of money for a property owner to have an extra $90, cut off their tax bill. And it certainly would have a huge impact on the village, because that 3 percentage points, that means a salary. That's a person in a mid-level. I mean, we're talking $75,000, so it's a salary plus benefits for a public works worker that we could use another one of, or we would have to eliminate. So to say that we had a savings because we are taxing our employees with more jobs and paying less or not filling positions, next year, I hope we fill those positions, every one of them, because the village really needs it. And it's showing around here. You walk around the village enough, you'll see that the deterioration is showing because we don't have sufficient staff to help keep us the way we need to be.
Okay, can we move that? Roseanne, you want to call the roll?
Okay, Mayor Hopping,
No.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
No.
Commissioner Ross,
No,
Commissioner Samaria,
Yes.
Commissioner Tudor,
No.
I'd like
I
to
would
make
like to make a motion. You beat me. I think you got under the wire. Go.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2033, setting the tentative millage rate at 9.7 as suggested by staff.
I second that.
Okay, want to call, any discussion?
okay.
Call the
I think
roll?
everybody's interested.
Okay, Mayor Hopping,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaria,
No.
Commissioner Tudor,
Yes.
4-1.
Okay, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn for 5-minute break.
I'll second.
Okay, 5 minutes, just stay on.